you have to be able to develop capacity to be fruitful. You have to develop capacity to expand, replenish the earth, and also have dominion. So I'm happy to see a lot of us on the call tonight. I can see people from Lagos. Thank you so much for showing up. Wow, there's Irene from Calabar, Jordan from Uganda. Oh, nice to have you here. We promise you're going to have a very lovely time with our expert here. We have Smart from Anambra. Oh, nice to have you here. Okay, so I am here in Lagos and we're starting off shortly. Okay. So on the call tonight, we have Engineer Obinna. And so I want to appreciate your presence tonight. Thank you so much for showing up here.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege.
Yes, Engineer Obinna is an engineer, and he has strong footprint in the software and engineering industry. So we're happy to have him here. Okay, so he's a digital transformation strategist and a system engineer. He's also a techpreneur and a business goal leader with over a decade of experience applying technology and data and innovation to solve complex problems and challenges. So as the founder of Top Citadel, he leads initiatives in software and product development, artificial intelligence, and intelligent automation, also digital scale marketing. He runs an edtech and he also focuses on organizational transformation. His emerging work also extends to renewable energy and electric mobility, where he explores technology-enabled solutions for sustainable development. Obinna is known for translating ambitious ideas into practical strategies, scalable digital platforms, and measurable business outcomes. Beyond his technical entrepreneurial work, he is a leadership advocate. Yes, I'm a witness to that. Okay, he's a life coach, he's a mentor, he's a pastor, he's a community builder, and he's committed to developing the next generation of leaders. I know very well he has a passion for young men. So if you're on the call this morning and you're a young man, you're in the right place. He believes that sustainable transformation requires both effective systems and empowered people. So Obinna is a devoted husband and a loving father of 4. Engineer Obinna, you're welcome to the call tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma, for the opportunity. And I count it a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to have you on the call tonight. Okay. So I think we should be taking off immediately so that within 1 hour we should be out of here. I remember how we came upon this conversation because we're looking at challenges that career people are facing, okay, and also business people. Basically, we're Christians and God has made a lot of promises to us here on earth. And I found out that what limits most of us, especially Christians generally, is the problem of discipline. Okay, we can make and shout a lot of promises that God has made to us, but when it now comes to execution and putting those things into action, we tend to struggle with it. And I know that one thing that deals with it is if we can build our leadership capacity in those areas and build the disciplines involved, it's going to work. So we decided to explore the book called Developing the Leader Within You by John Maxwell. Okay, some of us on the call, I know we've read a lot of John Maxwell's books, but I have read a lot. It got to a point where I had read so much that when I was now reading subsequent books, I found out that some books were actually repeating. And I would not, then I thought he was repeating books, but it was later I now realized that, look, this is this man's message. And repetition is the mother of lasting impression. So if you want people to grow in leadership, then you have to keep repeating the principles until they understand it and begin to work in it, okay? So for some time now, we're going to be talking a lot more about leadership until we can get a lot of our youth and a lot of our people, okay, building capacity to lead in their various spheres, whether you're a career person or you're a business person on the call tonight. So good evening, sir. And I'll open the floor by asking you a question. From John Maxwell's book, I understand that the definition of leadership is influence. So that is my understanding. So I want you to prove to us on the call tonight, how true is this? And how can a career person or a business person on the call tonight step into this reality? We talk about influencers in the marketplace, so they are leading in their own sphere. So how can we on the call tonight, the business people and the career people, based on what John Maxwell says, how can we quickly, take on this step into leadership through influence? Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, let me see some emoticons or some something that shows that you can hear me. Let me be sure. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Okay, so the summary of this thing called leadership is influence. If leadership can be summarized into one word, that word will be influence. And so this thing called influence is determined by your leadership capacity. And so let me even say this ahead of time. If, let's assume, we have a rubric, a measuring scale to measure leadership, and let's say that scale goes from 0, meaning you don't have any leadership capacity, to 10, meaning you are the best of the best kind of leaders. I want you to understand something. The first thing you need to understand is that leadership capacity can be built and it can grow. It can be built and it can grow. So if you know that this thing can be built, it can be learned, it's a skill that can be developed, then this discussion will really help you. Now, the next thing I want you to understand about leadership, I will use a philosophy to explain it so that it will be easy to enter. And it's called emotional bank accounts. Everyone makes decisions based on emotions. And so if you want to influence people, find a way of making some positive investments into their emotional bank accounts. Once you've done that, it will become easy for you to now withdraw or collect or demand something from them afterwards. So influence is now rated on a 5-level scale that shows from level 1, the lowest level of capacity or influence you can demand from people, to level 5, which is the highest level. And to answer the question directly, influence, everything rises and falls on leadership. And if everything rises and falls on leadership, and your leadership is determined by the level of your influence, how then can it grow? And what are these levels? The first level, which is the lowest level, is where people are in a position. And as I talk now, you begin to see why some things that may have been happening to you or your organization happen. Now, positional leaders are more like bosses. They just are in a place just because of the position that they've been given, the job title, the authority that was handed over to them. And because of that, they lord it over people. But if you can move from positional leadership to the second level of leadership, you begin to see that you now have permission. That's the second level, is permission. So first level, position; second level, permission. People, at this level, people follow you because they want to follow you, because of the influence. You see that thing I was talking about? You've made influence in them. You relate to them. You call them. You say nice words to them. You listen to them. You've built a relationship with them, not just because you are their boss or they are their leader. So based on that emotional connection, people now begin to follow you. And so there are many leaders who have gotten that aspect. Now, if you get that aspect, you also need to move to the next level, because your organization is not just a social gathering where everybody is hey and dandy. You need to produce results. So it brings us to the next level of leadership, which is production. If you can get to that third level of leadership, what does production talk about? It talks about when people follow you. Remember the first one, people follow you because you have a position over them. The second one, people follow you now because they love you and because they've seen what you mean to them or what you've done for them. But at this level, people follow you because of the results you have brought in the organization. So you must be a doer. You must be an example of that thing that your organization represents. And then after that, the next one is people development. So first of all, some people start at level 1 position, but you need to grow in influence and get permission. Then you move to production, where you are now producing results for your organization. But beyond producing results for your organization, you must now go the extra mile to invest in people. I watched an interview recently of one young man, I think he's 35 years old, a young Nigerian, Ijeoma Azi. He founded 2 unicorns. A unicorn is an organization that has valuation over $1 billion. Over $1 billion US. And so he said in that interview that his mentor taught him that $1 billion organization is just an organization of people who would have built $10 million organizations on their own, but now they unite their forces, they unite their strengths, they unite their capacities together to pursue a common vision, and that unity produces a unicorn, $1 billion in valuation, billion US dollar in valuation. So, but to get to that point, my reason for raising that is that to get to that point, you must have invested in the people, you must have grown them, you must have impacted them. You must have done things at this level. People follow you, not just because of what you've done for the organization, but because of what you have done in them. You have reproduced them. And then the final level, which is where I'll stop for tonight, is pinnacle. They follow you because of who you represent, your brand, your character over time, your reputation that has been established. Thank you very much, man.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for breaking the 5 levels of leadership down to us. So first thing you said, position. And position is the least level. So for career people, that's we do a lot. They've given us a position, a portfolio, and we're now using that to think that we can lead people. No. So leadership is beyond position. Then you talked about permission. When people now follow us because they want to follow us. And that's what we want everybody on the call to go through tonight. So where are you? Are you leading people? Are you leading yourself? If you're leading yourself, then there's no problem because you have mastered the basic foundational level of leadership. Then from there, you can start leading people even in the organization or your business. So from the permission level, people now, you're building relationships with them. They want to follow you. Then production because of the results you accomplish. Then people development because of what you do for them. People now follow you. Then pinnacle. Oh, you have made so much impact and your results are speaking for you. So that is what he explained to us. So I'm going to summarize influence tonight as the ability to affect how people think, how people decide, how they behave, and how they act. So that is what influence is all about. And if you're going to influence people to follow a vision or pursue a goal, then you have mastered how to think effectively, behave effectively, decide well, and also act well. So that's what we're having in this conversation tonight, so that we know the things to put in place in the next 3 months to get the results that we're looking for. I know most of us on the call have goals for our career. If you're in a business organization, once your boss notices that you have the capacity for leadership, most times they get you and they train you. So, and if you're on the call tonight and you're a career person, please, it is something to start looking into. Okay. So, sir, the second thing I want to ask you tonight is, I've read from that book, what we are discussing tonight, that one of the major keys to leadership is priority. But we're discussing from the Nigerian context. There's a lot of distractions, issues here and there. Social media is messing a lot of people up because, sometimes we spend so much time on it, trying to get information, watching other people live their lives, and at the end of the day, we'll come back and the things we are supposed to have built, we have not built. And I want to ask you tonight, sir, how is priority setting or keeping or whatever based on John Maxwell a key element in developing leadership. And how can we now, based on your experience, also start looking at priorities? Because we're on this call. Why? For the next 90 days, next 120 days, next 1 year, I want everybody on the call tonight to look back to the call tonight and say, look, wow, based on what I got from this session tonight, I was able to build and align my priorities right. And these are the results I'm getting. So over to you, sir. One of the keys to leadership is setting priorities. How is this true? Okay, and how can we
Yes.
maximize this key? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Shockingly, in my study of leadership, I discovered this thing we call procrastination is not just avoidance of something that needs to be done, but it also includes doing something else that is of less importance with time that should be used for something else that is more valuable. In other words, let me say it in a simple way. When you say, when someone procrastinates, go and check it. That time the person would have used to do that effortful and resultful work, it was used in doing something else. And so it's misplaced priorities most of the time that has driven people into places where where they are in a tight corner. And so prioritization becomes very essential. I'll use this frame to help us. There's something called the Pareto principle. Now, the Pareto principle, some people call it the 20-80% principle. What that means is that 20% of your time, 20% of the members of your team, 20% of your resources is usually what produces 80% of your outcomes, your outputs, your results. And so what Pareto principle in application to every one of us who is running a business means is that you must critically look for those critical, important, essential roles, responsibilities, and tasks which you alone are meant to do in your organization. Focus on them so that it will those tasks that impact the bottom line, focus on them, and you will get tangible results at the end of the day. Some people come and major in minors. They major in things that are meant to be minorities, and then they minor in things that are meant to be majorities. So I'm going to give you a little framework now, just as I round up. But the concept is that if you know how to time, I hope you know, time waits for no one. So the capacity to prioritize is also maximizing your time and your life, because time is life. And beyond talking about it in the individual sense, in a fiscal year, whatever you will achieve as an organization is determined by how well you prioritize, some tasks, how well you prioritize processes, how well you prioritize different kinds of systems and things that will produce the entire result you want to see in your organization. And so this is a framework that you can use, a very simple framework. Most times, everything you see that comes to you is either important or urgent. So there is a map of important tasks and urgent tasks, and I'll show you how it actually forms a quadrant. So what do I mean? So there are tasks that are important and urgent. There are tasks that are important and not so urgent. There are tasks that are not important, but they're very urgent. And then there are tasks that are not important and not urgent. Now, if you have all these things budging you every day, what do you do? Let me give you a little concept. This concept was used by the lion tamers in the circles of old. There was one philosophy that the lion tamers discovered that gave them dominion over lions. What was that? as a primate, the brains of lions are not so developed to handle or juggle many things at the same time. And so every lion tamer, go and check those circus videos we usually watch in the past. You will see that the lion tamers use a stool, a chair. They'll just carry a chair and enter into a cage where a lion is, a mighty lion. They enter the cage where the mighty lion is, and then they bring out that chair, and the four legs of the chair will be facing the lion like this, and the lion will be, we just melt. The lion will just stand still, freeze. What happens? As a primate, is looking for what to pounce on, is looking for what to attack. But because the four-pronged legs of the stool is now pointing at it, it spreads its focus on the four areas, and it is weakened, it is frozen, it is demobilized. Don't be like a lion that is demobilized because you have many things juggling around you. Use this framework and then you'll get the solution. What's the framework? There are things that are urgent and important. Those things that are urgent and important, give them priority and do them first. But you see, what happens is if you tackle those urgent things that are very important now, it will give you room to start breathing, because you need to now schedule for the second thing. So I'll tell you these four things as I round up, please. Urgent things that are very urgent and very important, do them now. Number two, things that are very important but low urgency, they have low urgency, schedule them. Plan when you will do them. Don't do them when the deadline has come. Just like people that they don't read until exam time, they wait till like a day to exam, that's when they read. No, schedule your studies. And then the third one is low importance but high urgency. Now, because that thing is not so important, look for someone to delegate it to. There's someone that wrote a book called Buy Back Your Time. He says you must learn to evaluate your time and know the value of your time per hour. And if there is a task, if there is something that's coming to take your time in that hour, you may have to look for someone to delegate that task to. Pay them. Pay for your laundry services, pay for a janitor, pay for whatever, all these menial tasks that you would likely see in a household. Pay for a virtual assistant if you can afford it, so that you free your time. Pay for a driver if you can afford it. It's all these things free, but you're buying back your time, you're buying back your life, and you can use it and do productive things that will give you. And then finally, number four is those low importance and low urgent tasks. Please eliminate them. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. So if you're on the call tonight, from what I gathered based on what you just said, this month of the year, this season of the year, there are things you're supposed to be doing if you must meet up with your long-term vision. So if you know them, then focus on them. So leadership is not about just doing everything. Some of us have been taking courses. Maybe this month it's time for you to pause and actually get results from the ones you've been taking. Some of us have been taking notes. Maybe this time is actually time for you to pause and sift out what is it I must be doing this month. Okay, then so leadership is about knowing what matters most and having the courage to do the things that matter most now. Then he talked about resources. He talked about time. So everybody on the call tonight, you're leading in your capacity. Like I said before, the first level is yourself. Okay, so you have the resource called time. You have the resource called your attention, your focus. You have the resource called money. You have the resource called your energy, and you also have the resource called people. These are 5 things, and they are like currencies. And the funny thing, or the interesting thing about these currencies is that some of them, if we lose them, it's very hard to get them back. So I want us to be very conscious of our time, our attention, the money, the energy, and the people that God has given us. So I like what you said about the training of the lion, the power of focus. You understand? That power can, calm a lion and just stop him in its way. So also, do you have capacity to take care of anything that may be causing distractions for you in time and season? Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So I have one more question for you. Now, I know, and I've discovered in the process of going through this discussion of, concerning John Maxwell's book on leadership, that he talked about the ultimate test. So there's a test for leadership. So if you want to say that somebody is a true leader, then it means that the person is creating positive change. Okay, good leaders create change. When a good leader steps into a place, they leave the place better than it was before. So we're on the call tonight, and I'm hoping that everybody in attendance, by the time we're done listening to you, will understand what our presence will do. If I step into a room, how do I leave it? If I step into a meeting, how do I leave it? If I step into a gathering with people, how do I leave it? If I step into a place where there are problems or issues, how do I leave the place? So, sir, can you talk to us about creating positive change? So, but what's on the way from it too? Because you don't like problems. Okay, so is creating change for everyone? And is it also a secret to our career and business growth? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. The summary of this matter about creating positive change. How would you love it if in your country, your leaders created positive change? How would you love it if every organization where you are involved in, how would you love it if the leaders there thought about you, the pains that you go through, or the burdens in your heart, and they resolve those things? Now, think about your own self. You are also a leader somewhere, and we're talking about you. Let's leave what we can't control. Let's talk about the people here on this call. The people that follow you will enjoy your leadership. The results you get will be turned around. In fact, you won't be forgotten if you make efforts to create positive change, no matter how little. Start somewhere. You know, there's something they call the 1% rule. If you are improving by 1% every day, do you know that at the end of 1 year, you would have improved by 365%? Just 1%. 1% is very insignificant. You know what is 1%? 1% is the difference between 79 over 100 and 78 and over 100, or 80 over 100 and 79 over. Just 1%. That's little. That little one factor. Make effort to make that change. I'll give you a framework now, just so that you understand about making positive change. Now, you don't just jump into making positive change, because sometimes people don't want to embrace change. Are you getting it? There are some resistance to change. It's not because they don't like it, but they're just comfortable in their ways. People usually don't want comfort. So as a leader, you must be strategic. You must plan ahead. You must plan ahead. And because of time, I'll give you this plan ahead as keys. They'll signify something. Each letter, PLAN, AHEAD, will all signify something. Plan ahead. Plan ahead. If you have seen the vision, if you have seen the future, even when people have not seen it, you can plan ahead and be able to move them to that place. First thing you need to do is to predetermine the change that is needed. Find out what is needed in your organization and be clear about what that change is. Lay out your steps. Find out step-by-step processes that you will employ into executing that change. The next thing you do is to adjust your priorities. I just spoke about priorities. So you need to now look for there's what we call low-hanging fruits. You need to know what to prioritize first, what to start doing, because you know at the end of the day, we want to create something positive. So what is that thing that you can do that will create that positive change? Look for something that resonates with the people, and then you don't do change in isolation. You notify people. That's the next one. Notify people, notify stakeholders, notify strategic partners, notify the people that need to be informed about change. And then you now allow time for acceptance, because sometimes this thing it may not be accepted immediately. It may need some time to sink in and settle into the hearts of people. Once you've given time for acceptance of change, then you head into action. You do something. Let the rubber meet the road. Start doing something. And then when you start doing something, expect problems. Problems will arise. Some things may go the way you, even in executing projects, even when people are not involved, it's just technical equipment. Sometimes you see some of the equipment reacting or malfunctioning. Expect problems, and then always point to successes. If you've done this before, remind the people of where we are going to, where we've come from, what has been done in the past about this thing, and finally after allowing for success, finally there is a skill you need: constant review, daily review. If you do this little by little, you will see the change that you want. I'll give an example. Just as I'm rounding up, I'll give an example. I was involved with a leader on a project. And so when this leader came in, very gentle young man. So he came into the team, and when he came into the team, he noticed some flaws. He noticed some, because he has led different kinds of teams like that in the past. So he noticed some flaws in the team where we met together, and he wasn't in a hurry. He just a little change, and each time he's making that change, he will come gather everyone together. Do you think it's good that we do this? Everybody say yes. So it's good. That he say, are you sure? If we say yes, so we must do it. So he say yeah. Everybody will now accept, and gradually everybody started. It started with punctuality. Everybody became punctual. You'll be shocked at how punctual everybody was. It started at compliance. Everybody became compliant. It started at vision ownership and vision connection. Everybody gradually, the result this leader created in the team was so outstanding that even at the bigger level, the results spoke for itself. Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Wow. I wish we had so much time. It looks like we're going to do part 2 of this founders conversation, because you're really dismantling a lot of mindset blocks, seriously. Okay. I know some of us have different personalities. So when you have people that are cholerics, they love to create change. They love to solve problems. They love their voices to be heard. So when you now see somebody who is a phlegm, who is a sanguine or melancholy, that they like to stay on their own. Don't give me trouble. So why must I be bothering myself about creating change? A sanguine person just wants fun. So what are you people talking about? Phlegm needs peace of mind, okay? But you're telling us today, okay, that creating change is for everybody, and we have problems to solve in the marketplace. So you must not be called a leader, in quotes, leader IJ, leader Obinna. What people on the call, no. We mustn't call you leader. No. It's your results that tells us whether you have leadership capacity. People don't want titles anymore. What we want is your results. We want everybody on the call tonight, including Bob Jordan, okay, to work on your leadership capacity. So I took note, and I said a young professional who improves a broken process is creating change.
Yeah.
A founder, a founder who is creating jobs is creating change. A manager who is developing people, or a business owner who is developing people is creating change. You've taken the situation of the people from one level to another. A project manager who is turning failing projects around is creating change. And a professional who sees a problem and is building a solution also to solve it is creating change. So I want to encourage everybody on the call tonight, because assuming you're a career person, the fastest way to promotion is to offer value, and value means change. So the more problems you solve, the more you stand the chance of getting promoted and earning more. Okay, even as a business person, if that your business can grow, like he said tonight, to solve more problems, then we're also looking at earning more money. So we're looking at everybody on the call tonight. By the time we're done, we're looking at how can we build our leadership capacity, in order to be able to solve more problems, create more solutions, and earn value, which is money for the solutions we've provided. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Now, the next question I want to ask you is a very important one. I've heard so much about vision, and John Maxwell talks a lot about it. So I want you to explain this concept to us. How does vision work? Is it monthly? Is it quarterly? For us as business people, how do we do it? So that as we are building our leadership capacity, we can put it as a pointer or one of the things we need to develop based on where we are headed to. So it's this, he said, one of the indispensable qualities. You cannot do without it, vision. So what do you have to tell us tonight about vision for now and in the coming times? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Vision, vision, I would say vision is a vivid picture of a preferred future that gives you the passion to take proportional action today. I'll come again. Vision is a vivid picture of a preferred future that gives you the passion to take proportional action today. So as an organization, as an individual, you need a compelling vision. Vision is so serious that the Bible says that where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision, the people perish. So where there is no vision in your company, that company will fail. It won't report profits. I think the other day someone was analyzing MTN and telling us how by July, just 7 months, how many billions they've raked in as profits. The people that founded that company have vision. And that's how you too must have vision. So don't say that the economy is bad. Don't say that there is a recession or whatever. People are doing great things. What is your own vision? Now, once you have a clear vision, sometimes it may be good to break that vision down into achievable chunks. Organizations have what we call a fiscal year. So in 12 calendar months, what is your vision for the organization within that 12 calendar months? Sometimes organizations work in quarters, and you can do that on a personal basis or as a team quarterly. What goals do you want to achieve in a quarter? In the tech space, there's what we call sprints. And so anytime we are building agile processes that run some softwares or products and different kinds of things, we have what we call sprints. We manage our projects in what we call sprints. Now, those sprints are timelines by which we must drop a new feature of a product. So it could be a 1-week sprint that we have for this particular product, or maybe a 2-week sprint. Are you getting it? Or even sometimes a 1-month sprint. What happens is that we must update something. Is that vision that drives that constant positive change, constant improvement, that end vision that drives us to do the things that we do. Have you noticed many times you have a software on your phone? Have you noticed that many times you have a software on your phone? Sometimes 2 times in a month, they will tell you update. What's that update? They've done something new that they dropped. They did not wait till everything was achieved before they moved. No, but they had in mind, they had in mind that this product will have maybe 300 features. But when they are dropping it for you, you may have bought the product or downloaded the product with maybe 20 features. Every month, their goal as product developers is to make sure they ship at least 2 or 3 more products. So you see, in a space of like 3 years, that's why in the software industry, you notice that this is 2026 now. If somebody is offering you a software of 2019 or 2020, I'm sure you won't even want to take, because it's likely that that will be outdated. So you must drive your life with vision. You must drive your organization with vision. Let me tell a little story about this vision, because it really resonates with me. On my first day in campus, something happened I usually don't forget. I had an elder cousin. He was my cousin, living with us like a brother to me. Coincidentally, the same department, computer science, that I was enrolling in on campus was the same department that he was a high flyer in. And I don't know why it was that day he decided to tell me this important story. He told me that when he got to school on the first day of school, that he went around campus and came to the departmental notice board and looked at the results there. And he saw that they started pasting results from the highest to the lowest. And he looked at number 1 and said that by this time, by the end of this semester, my name will be number 1. He turned to his side and there was a young man beside him. Ebuziem is the name of that young man. And he said, Ebuziem, this is what I'm looking at. My name will be number 1 on this list. Ebuziem said, yes, that's a nice this thing. Me too, I want to be there at the top too. Let 2 of us be at the top. And that was just, they had a handshake, hugged themselves, and went to work. At the end of the day, that was why this story fascinated me. Don and Ebuziem were always first and second in that department. So, being my first day of school, guess what I did? I went around campus. By the time I was done, I came to the computer science notice board and I saw that they posted results, and I looked up at the notice board. As I was looking at the notice board, beside me, Emmanuel started walking. I won't mention his surname, but my friend Emmanuel, he started walking. He came, I said, God has done it for me and this guy. Me and this guy will be the next high flyers in this department. So I called the guy. I said, bro, see result of people. Oh, you understand? See, we were looking at the result, and I looked up at the top, and I said, see the top. I will like to be at the top. I would like to get all these A's and everything. And I looked at him in enthusiasm, just like I'm looking at you now. Do you know what the guy says? No, no, it's too much. It's too much. Now you can't do that. My heart broke. Wow. My heart broke, because I knew that by just accepting it mentally, we could have been the best. Finally, what happened? I was the best in the I topped the chart by the time that semester was over. I topped the chart and everything. But Emmanuel, do you know Emmanuel? Yeah, we needed to do practicals. I go to Emmanuel's house to do practicals because his brother had a computer then. I didn't have access to computers. So when I want to do my practicals, I go all the way to Emmanuel's house. He had everything. Emmanuel was bright, but he did not have the vision. He did not have the confidence. He did not believe in himself. And he was never the top of his class. So he could have been the top of that class. Vision is very powerful. What is your own vision? I think I'll stop here, please.
Wow. I'm not sure we want you to stop. Wow. That is very, very interesting. Wow. Thank you so much.
And see, I've used that principle again and again to achieve different goals. Recently, I was taking a professional exam, and I even today I screenshotted it. Maybe later I'll send you that screenshot so that you just see my discussion with Clarity. When I for that professional exam, I was paying 266,000 for that exam. So when I enrolled for the exam, I had only 1 week to take the exam. I told Charity, I said, Charity, who are the people that make this top? I want to make that top, like 100% in that field. I want to make. Charity said, in Nigeria, it's few people that do it. Oh, I said, me, I will be one of the people that do it. She said, wow, that is very, you understand? She said, wow, your vision is really bright. Few days later, I will send you the screenshots, man. Few days later, I came as one of the top. I was recognized twice. Because of my achievements in that professional industry exam. You understand? So it shows, and it's not because I'm smarter than others. I feel that vision component is a key driving factor that every organization needs. Thank you, Ma. Let me pause here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So if you're joining the call late, this is the Founders Conversation. It holds once every quarter, and we're trusting God that we'll be able to make it more frequent, maybe monthly or bi-monthly. Okay, so it's a conversation where we just have problems and we talk and discuss things that affect us as career people, and we find solutions to them. So I want to thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us about vision, because what you said tonight is so philosophical and very impactful. Seriously, because as a young, see, that's the thing. As young people, we can see vision, we can pursue it, and it worked. So I want everybody on the call tonight, you can actually look back and remember yourself as a youth. How you saw pictures and you believed that those pictures you saw, they were impossible, and how you pursued them and achieved them. I remember those days. Before I will write any exam, I'll just tell myself that it's better you shoot for the stars. So that even if you don't make it to the stars, you can land on the cloud. Okay? And if you don't make it on the cloud, you can land on the roof of a high rise. And if you don't make it there, you can land on the first floor of a maybe 15-story. So there are several levels you can drop to. But the most important thing for me then was to shoot for the stars. And I spoke like that. I acted like that. I went, of course, then we behaved and we read like people that were really shooting for the stars. And it worked for me. You understand? For me, then graduating was not an issue. I took all the prizes in my faculty, all the prizes in my department, because I had a plan from day one to shoot for the stars. So I want everybody on the call this morning, tonight, everybody on the call tonight, we're going to pause and look at this quarter. Can we, like young people, that's why the Bible talks about God accepting children into his kingdom, because those people, kids, they see possibilities. So why is it that when we now grow as adults, we now think everything is impossible? A young child will ask the father for an aeroplane, will ask the father for things that are very impossible because they believe the father has the capacity to do that. So why can't we also trust God for the things that are ahead of us, our career to maximize it, our businesses to grow it? So I want us to look at our vision for this month. Where can I get to this month? Where can I get to this quarter? This thing I'm building, what are the possibilities? And what must I do to get there? Okay, so that's why we're here. While I'm having the conversation with him, I want you to be having the conversations with yourselves. Do you understand? Because if you don't set a vision, see, for people like us, then because we knew what we wanted, when they called for parties, we did not go. Because going for party means I will not read. And not reading means I will fail. Do you understand? So there were things I limited, I took away from my boundaries. So without this vision, you see things like meetings, emails, social medias, problems that don't concern us, admin work, firefighting will take your time, will take your attention. And you know what? You're going to be so busy and you feel you're achieving a lot. Vision is what gives the new quarter a direction. What gives the rest of the year a direction. What helps us to achieve tangible things at the end of the year. So I want everybody on the call tonight. Have you chosen your priorities for the next quarter? What is it you're going to focus on? Are you going to turn your goals for this quarter into something bigger? Because you can achieve it with prayers. You can achieve it with discipline. You can achieve it with hard work. You can achieve it with your network. You can achieve it with collaboration. Whatever it took us, then we did to achieve those goals. I want to encourage you tonight. I want to push you tonight. What exactly are you going to do to power the vision you're seeing or you have seen tonight? Okay? Now, vision is not prediction. No, it is a picture, like he said, of a picture, like he said, of a preferred future. So you must be able to say, I have a clear picture of what I want to create. I have a clear picture of where I'm headed to. I have a clear picture of what December will deliver to me this year. You need the recordings of this conversation. Okay, we'll send it. We're streaming on YouTube, so later we'll send you the YouTube link so you can watch it there. So you have a clear picture of where you're headed to. The conversation does not end tonight. This is the conversation we are having with you. But by the time you go off the call tonight, I want you to have a conversation with a colleague, with somebody else. I had a conversation this morning with my younger brother, and we were brainstorming. And one thing I found out is that you brainstorm better when you talk with a third party, a second party, somebody at your level. Have somebody that you can brainstorm, because you now find your brain juices are functioning better. You can think better. I will share to my people. Okay, you can think better and you can plan better. Visioning will help you create alignment. Visioning will help you say no, and that was what he said. If they said no, our name must be there. What are you saying about your business? No, this is the last time I'm going to make 6-figure. It is 7-figure. Concerning your salary, no, this is the last time I'm going to be on this pay grade. From, what are you saying no to? What are you going to say no to? There are things you're going to say no to. I was talking to somebody, we're just having a discussion, and he was telling me what they had positioned their business. I mean, the decisions they had made as a business based on the vision they had seen. I mean, yeah. There were locations they were not going to go to anymore because of the vision they had seen, because people that are where they are headed to don't go to certain places. And the certain places where he hosted his events. So he was talking about going to a hotel, such places. That's the vision he has seen. So what is your vision, your priorities, your goals, and the action you take? I want by the end of this quarter, you can see where you're headed to. The question I'm going to ask you is, what is the result you want to achieve? What are the 3 most important things that deserve my attention? I know what is deserving my attention. After this week, there are things I'm going to work on next weekend. I won't say it here, but I'm already working on it, because there are new areas we want to enter into as businesses. What are the things you're going to stop spending your time on? And if this quarter goes exceptionally well by December, this is what I would have accomplished or what I would have achieved. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Engineer Obinna. And I'm going to ask you one more last question, because I can see some people on the chat section have questions to ask us. So I'll just ask you this one question, and we can now open the floor for the real conversation. Okay, somebody is making a chat here about the 3 most important things that demand his attention. Please, I want you to take notes. What I've done is I've also been able to put up a workbook. And why I do workbooks is so that at the end of the conversation, we'll leave you for the next 2 months, 3 months, 1 month. Use that workbook to build further. Ask questions in the communities that you belong to. Ask questions ask the organizers questions, okay? And I want to tell you, please don't remain stuck in a place for a long time. There are people around you that can set you on the right path. So please, sir, I have one more question for you, or conversation with you, so that we can learn from your experience. And that question or conversation is this: personal growth is the expansion of leadership. Okay? Now, what is that one thing you can, based on your experience, that we can take away as we plan? I want people on this call to plan for 30 days. I want people on this call to plan for 90 days. I want us to plan for 120 days. I want us to plan for 5. My brother was talking to me today, and he said that there's no time I will talk and I will not say plan for 5 years. There are things I was looking at 10 years for myself. I've shifted it back. I said, no, God, it must happen 5 years. And I'll use prayer to power it. What are you praying for if you don't have a vision? That's what prayer is all about. So, sir, I want you to push us in the right direction concerning our personal growth. Leadership stems a lot from our personal growth. If we can grow internally, then our results can also speak for us. So, over to you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Growth is essential. There is no other way I can say this other than to say that growth is essential. There was someone, I think it was Abraham Lincoln, that said that if he has a task to cut a tree, he will spend majority of his time sharpening his axe before he goes to cut that tree. And even in the Bible, there is a place where the Bible says that if the axe is dull, it will stress whoever is trying to cut. So personal development is about personal growth is about sharpening your axe, getting good at what you do. The biggest leverage you will ever have, the biggest leverage you have is actually yourself. you need to know how to build yourself. You need to know how to invest in yourself. I remembered something that happened to me, just a brief stuff about my own philosophy about these things. On the day I graduated from the university and I came home, I remember that night I was burning the midnight candle, reading books, and my dad came out in the middle of the night and was asking me, he says, my friend, what happened? Do you have any carryover? Your mates, when they graduate, you understand, they throw away book and whatever. You now carry big book. It's actually James Gosling's book on Java. I was reading a very big book and I was studying and studying. I laughed and laughed and laughed in the middle of the night. And I told him, see that I don't have any carryover. I just know that this is not where I'm going to be or where I'm going to end. There is a place I'm pushing for. And that is why I'm burning the midnight candle. And I'll tell you, whatever it is that you want to achieve, set a goal to achieve it. Just like we said, have a vision, but you now need to be disciplined, because that vision, the person that will execute that vision is not this person that is seeing the vision now. You have to grow into the person that will execute that vision. And one easy way to do it is to make growth a daily thing. Make it a daily encounter. Make it a daily discipline. Don't stop at one. Don't make it a one-off thing. Someone says that many times we overestimate what we can achieve in a short term and underestimate grossly what we can achieve with long-term planning. Make up your mind to develop yourself. If your mind is the biggest leverage that you have, if you are the biggest asset that you have, make up your mind to develop yourself, and develop yourself to the extent that you'll be very valuable. I'll end with this. There was someone that was telling the story of how he had a friend, and while they were in campus, this friend will always go from party to party, and different kinds. Just living a normal life, and he did not have any motivation. He was not developing himself. And in those developed nations, there's what they call welfare. So if you don't even have any job when you come out from school, they put you on welfare. That's a bad mentality for those that want to grow and break into the million flow or real wealth. But you see, this is friend that was playing and gallivanting everywhere while he was working. Finally, years later, the results came out. Now, while the friend had a job, or he came out of welfare and now had a job, he was earning $7.50 per hour. That was the kind of job he was doing back then. While while the person telling us the story was now at that point earning for invitations close to $200,000 per hour for any session he comes to do consulting for. So you can see the capacity difference. You too, you can grow into what vision do you have. It's now time to now create steps, create plans every day. Make up your mind to invest in yourself, and you will find yourself there. You can set 30-day goals, you can set 90-day goals, 1 year goals, whichever. But I think what we're going to do now, I don't know, architect, is it 90 days that you recommend for us? Which one are we using? Thank you, ma'am.
I think that we can do 90 days.
90 days, okay.
Yes, I think we should do 90 days, because when you see, for the fact that you've done 90 days, it means automatically you've done 30 days. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So 90 days means August, September, October. By November, December, we're planning for 2027. Okay. So I want us to do 90 days. If you don't meet up your 90, you have October to meet up. I mean, you have November, sorry, August, September, October. So by November, you have November to meet up. Then by November, I mean December, we're not planning for 2026. I mean 2027, sorry. By November, we're planning for 2027. So sorry, can I continue? Are you done?
Yes. You can continue. Yes.
So thank you so much. That scripture you quoted is Ecclesiastic 10:10. It says, if the axe be blunt, it says, then we'll put in so much strength. And I just saw the picture of a big branch of tree that somebody may decide to use. You know, there are chainsaws powered by big machines. So all you need to do is stay on the tractor and drive it and it will cut it. There are people that use chainsaws to cut. Then you can imagine somebody on the call tonight trying to use a table knife to cut a tree. That is the picture I saw tonight. So personal development means upgrading your skill in such a way that you begin to operate from the place of wisdom and not strength. Okay, so if you notice, the laborers are the ones that work, they work harder than me and you, but they may end, I don't know, but it depends really. I think the laborers charge now per day is 12,000, okay, or 10,000, but they work so much and earn so little. They work like 12 hours in a day because they are doing manual labor. So I want everybody on the call tonight to look at how you can build your skill, like he said, and sharpen your axe. Okay, before I'm going to take questions tonight, sir. So please, we'll oblige us. Once they raise their hands, I'll call them. Maybe like 4 or 5 before we close. It's almost 9. We should be out. We should be out of here by 9. I want to just say a few things. I sent a link in the group, and that link I sent to the group, if you click it, you're going to see the workbook. Okay, but I want to just read a few things for us so that we can just think about it. Now, while we're preparing, I like, because if you look at the Bible is a book of stories, and it's also a book of models, people that have done things and succeeded. Okay, we've looked at, there are different people in the Bible, Joshua, David, Joseph, Esther, Deborah, that have modeled leadership, and their names are written in the book of, in the Bible, okay, book of the time. When we tell their stories, we say what they've done. There are also people now in our generation that have also done things that when we look at them, we speak about them. I want us, even as we are living currently and as we're operating, to be able to also make a lot of difference so that by the time we must have spent time and possibly are rounding up, people will, not even before, not that we're rounding up, but while we're still present on earth here, people will look back at our contributions and say, this is what these people did. I saw Richard Branson, the guy that owns Virgin, okay, and one leadership lesson that he said he learned based on his operations as a business person is that he said, you don't need to know everything. He said, all you need to do is build people. Take risk and also create an environment where people can perform. Everything I'm reading here is in that book. You may not be able to look at that. I mean, the workbook I created. You may not look at the workbook now, but after the session, just go to the workbook. So he said, you may not need to know everything. Some of us are learning, ever learning, but the Bible said they will never come to knowledge of truth. You've learned enough. The much that you have learned, pick 10% of it and put it into operation. And the proof is that the things we've discussed tonight, pick one thing and let it work in your life. Okay, so that's when he said, you don't need to know everything. All you need is people. Take risk, then also create an environment. So in the next 90 days, you may want to focus on this. Now, Jeff Bezos, the Amazon guy, says, long-term thinking is his vision while being obsessed with his customers. So he loves his customers, and his job is to solve problems for them. That is why he created Amazon. Don't go to anybody's shop. Just order it online. I will bring it for you. Can you see? Solving problems. Long-term thinking. And that is how he was able to build something called Amazon. Now, there's somebody called Damon John. He's on the Shark Tank. This guy is now an investor. But he runs a clothing line now. He was broke, and that's why he wrote the book, Power of Broke. You see what that did to him? So peradventure, you're on the call tonight and you're broke. Oh, there's hope for you. Forget it. Just start building capacity, building discipline, work with your vision, pursue it, set your goals. And you see, that's why he now said, resourcefulness is more powerful than resources. That's it. That's his leadership lesson for life. Okay? Resourcefulness means, we're talking tonight, we're giving you resources, we're giving you information. But resourcefulness means the information we have given you tonight, how are you able to put it to use? That is resourcefulness. So a resourceful person is the one that is able to convert resources to tangible results or use. So that was what this guy did with his poor background, and he built a massive clothing line, and now he's investing in several businesses. There's a guy called Simon Sinek, you know him, and the leadership lesson he also learned, he said, Begin with your why. He said leadership starts with understanding why you are doing what you're doing. A lot of people are laid back because they don't even understand what is wrong with them. But if you understand the reason why you must prosper, do well in your career, do well in your business, build a thriving business so that you can empower. For goodness sake, the Bible said, "I bless you so that you can become a blessing." When you're king before God, what are you going to tell him? With all the blessings he blessed you with, who did your life bless? Who did your business solve problem for? Who did your career position solve a problem for? You must understand your why. Why am I here? What is your purpose? And begin to build like the one that is in partnership with God to impact lives based on the solutions you're bringing or the position you're occupying in that office. Then, of course, we know about, I'll just mention two persons. Who will I mention now? Let me mention just one person. Okay, Mel Robbins. I have three more, but I'll just mention one so that we can take your questions. Mel Robbins says that transformation is not about knowing what to do. See, it is not about knowing what to do. We have gained knowledge tonight. It is about developing the courage. You need courage. We've said these things to you tonight. You can now go home and you see, I talked about mindsets. I'm going to share that video with you, how your mind keeps you safe. You've listened to us tonight. A lot of us are in our comfort zones, and you will keep doing the things that you're doing because you're scared of leaving your comfort zone. And your comfort zone will tell you why the things we said tonight will not work for you. That's why she says it is about developing courage. You need courage and you need the discipline to act, to do the things that we have discussed tonight. Okay? So I put it in the chat section today. The things that great leaders must do: you must build yourself, find your why, start immediately, become resourceful, think about building people like Jeff Bezos, think long term, and like Gary V. Gary V talks about the future. We're building towards the future. That's why I talk about sustainability and also taking action. So everybody on the call tonight, if you're not, sometimes go to ChatGPT and ask it, please, what's the future of my industry? What's the future for my career? Based on the projections of AI trends, so that you know exactly what to be doing. So that will be all from me tonight as I open the floor for questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We'll take your questions, and Engineer Obinna will answer them tonight. So if you have any questions, just indicate by using the emoji there and put your fingers up. Meanwhile, the link for the recording will be shared immediately after the meeting so that you can listen to it. The fact that you heard us once doesn't mean you heard most of what we said. Even myself, I'm going to listen again because Pastor Obinna delivered a lot tonight.